is being interviewed at Conica Minolta in East Windsor, is it?
Windsor.
Windsor. And the name of the person is Tom
Bengston.
Okay. And my name is Chad Embry, and I was brought here by my father, who works at the same company. And what war did you serve in?
In the Vietnam, or at the end of the Vietnam War, I had enlisted.
Okay. And your branch of service?
The Marine Corps.
And what was your rank?
The highest rank was sergeant.
Okay. And now we're going to get into the second segment, which is jogging your memory. And were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted.
Okay. And where were you living at that time?
Denver, Colorado.
Okay. And why did you join?
At that time, in 1974, there was a significant recession. I was getting out of high school, graduating about a year early, and it was difficult to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought this would be a good place to get GI Bill and school benefits and so forth.
Why did you pick the service branch you joined?
I picked the Marine Corps because I thought I could get in shape and be better prepared to play hockey.
Yeah. Do you recall your first days in service?
Yeah, I remember the first days of boot camp. The movies have it right. They bring you in the middle of the night in the dark out to a bunch of screaming DIs where you have to get out of a bus and put your feet on the yellow footprints, and then they take you in and shave your head and start to indoctrinate you to military life.
Where was the base?
San Diego, California. I was what's called a Hollywood Marine.
Tell me about your boot camp training experiences.
Boot camp was interesting. I would say the average age of the enlistee was about 17 years old at that time.
Wow.
And quite a mix of people from inner city to suburban to rural areas from all over the U.S. It was a very interesting experience. Most people go through it in about a 3-month time frame. Some people, for various reasons, spend as long as a year in boot camp.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they get a medical problem, they have to stay in boot camp until they complete all the training days, or they have some physical, maybe a weight problem. I've seen people lose over 100 pounds in boot camp. An incredible diet program.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. You could see that the people come together over the 3 months to become a very tight unit. Let's say from the people I started with, probably only about 40% actually finished on the normal schedule. People tend to get put in other platoons if they get set back in their training. So usually takes a little longer than 3 months probably for the average person.
Do you remember any of your instructors?
Yeah, I can picture their faces and their mannerisms. They were actually probably scary to most of the guys at that time, but when I think back, they were very funny. A lot of comedy in what they did, at least looking back.
Yeah. How did you get through it?
I remember after about the first or second day, where most people are pretty much shocked at the place they're now finding themselves in. I was in my bunk late at night looking at the lights over the camp there and just thinking that, okay, it's a fixed amount of time. You have 85 training days, so just go with the program and get it done. So I just kept that in mind, that it was a very finite amount of time.
And obviously you served in the Vietnam War, and where exactly did you go?
Actually, I was considered a Vietnam veteran because I entered in 1974, but I never actually saw combat. The closest, I guess, in the foreign areas to combat that I would have gotten to was Japan and Korea. We did some exercises in Korea as if a nuclear war was breaking out, and we had to move from Japan to Korea within a 12-hour period. So it was pretty interesting.
Do you remember arriving and what it was like?
In these types of simulations, yeah, it was maybe you'd be rousted out of bed at 2 a.m. in the morning, getting told that we were on DEFCON 3 or 4. You'd get your aircraft ready very quickly to transport to another country, and you'd board planes in the middle of the night, and the next morning you'd come out in another country, in this case South Korea, and we would immediately go into so-called nuclear-proof revetments. They were like giant concrete Quonset huts that we kept our aircraft in, and we would get the aircraft at a full ready status as if awaiting orders for defending or attacking some military targets. And we would stay in there on alert for 24 hours or more. Very cold in the Korean winter.
So that was your job assignment, just getting aircraft ready and basic mechanics?
Yeah, I worked on the radar and fire control systems, so that consisted of making sure that the radar in all phases of its operation were ready and that it could control both the heat-seeking and radar-guided missiles.
And you didn't see combat?
No.
Were there any casualties in your unit?
No, just perhaps injuries on the flight line, just work-related injuries.
Tell me about a couple of your most memorable experiences.
Top Gun in San Diego. I was assigned to keep 2 jets operational, at least the radar systems, for 3 months in San Diego while our pilots competed in the military's Top Gun contest. And it was very nice. I enjoyed San Diego quite a bit.
And were you a POW?
No.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
Basic good conduct ribbons. I think I had a Vietnam service ribbon and marksmanship badges.
Okay. And next segment is life. And any questions about life in the service and or at the front under fire. And how do you stay in touch with your family?
Back in those days, by writing letters.
What was the food like?
Pretty bland.
Did you have plenty of supplies?
Yes.
Did you feel pressure or stress from what you're doing?
Not really.
Was there something special you did for good luck?
No, I don't think so.
How did people entertain themselves?
In that it was peacetime, I think mainly a lot of drinking.
That's what
Yeah, there was a lot. I actually took a lot of night courses to keep busy.
Were there entertainers?
Again, being peacetime, the bases did have entertainment at the enlisted and officers' clubs. I remember seeing different varieties of entertainers, from musicians to magicians. So the military did have entertainers on a circuit. I guess I would go from base to base.
What did you do on leave? Just education?
Mainly I traveled. I would go to new places that I hadn't been before.
And what were those places while in service?
Outer islands of Hawaii, Taiwan, Thailand, Philippines.
Do you recall any particularly humorous or unusual event?
One time I was traveling with some friends to Tokyo, and we had tickets for the Doobie Brothers concert. I was in southern Japan, and I had convinced these guys, no problem, I can speak Japanese, we'll find our way to this concert. So we get to Tokyo, and we go out and get on the train, and I keep trying to ask the people, where is the Budokan in Japanese? And they kept looking at me very strangely. And so my friends were getting real nervous because we were trying to make it to the concert that evening. And then finally, after staying on this train and asking many people who kept looking at me strange, one person responded back to me and said, Budokan. And I wasn't putting the right inflection on it. And then finally everybody around agreed. They were nodding their heads. They knew exactly where to send us. But it was funny. I thought I understood how to speak Japanese and didn't realize how important the inflection was.
And were there any pranks that you guys would pull on each other? To stick out in your mouth?
None right now. I'm sure we did, but I can't think of any.
And you do have photographs?
Yes, I'll try and send some, mainly probably aircraft pictures.
Any with people in them?
There will probably be some pilots and maybe co-workers.
What did you think of officers or fellow soldiers?
Mainly as I thought of them as comrades.
Did you keep a personal diary?
No.
Alright, the next one is after service. And do you recall the day your service ended?
Not the exact day, but I remember the next few days after that.
Where were you?
Hawaii.
What did you do in the days and weeks afterward?
Established an apartment, and I stayed in Hawaii and lived there. Went to school.
You went to school in Hawaii?
Yes.
Was your education supported by the GI Bill?
Yes.
Did you make any close friendships while in the service?
Yes.
Did you continue any of those relationships throughout the years?
Yes.
For how long?
Say 15 to 20 years.
Did you join a veterans organization?
No.
Okay, and the final segment is later years and closing. And what did you go on to do as a career after the war?
Konica Minolta. It's the office products industry.
your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Yes, definitely.
Do you attend reunions?
No.
How did your service and experiences affect your life?
I think it opened my eyes to the diversity of the world.
Being oceanic, Pacific, Asian cultures, or?
It gave me a taste of travel that I've always appreciated and kind of built upon it after that.
Is there anything you'd like to add that we have not covered in this interview?
No, I think it's been very thorough.
All right, Tom.
Okay.
That was it. Appreciate it.